any sport. I play baseball, I play tennis, I play golf. Are you rolling? I play tennis. Hey, keep it down! I'm trying to do an interview here. Oh, unruly crowds. Mob rule.
Hey, Mickey, the Indians just scored a goal.
Is Michael Jordan playing in this game?
David, do that again. Do that again.
Mickey, the Indians just scored a goal.
Oh, good. Extra point. Good. No, in answer to your question, I play a lot of sports. I've never been a real fan. I play tennis. I play baseball. I play polo. I play golf. I play a lot of sports. But I've never really been a fan. I'm a fan of physics. I follow physics. Physicists around the world trying to get autographs.
I don't know who does their laundry, but they've got to do it on a cold wash next time.
They shrink up.
I'm not
No, it's supposed to be like that, Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Tell them where baseball was discovered.
But in England. But they keep...
It was a girls' game.
They're chewing... They put that in their mouth, and they chew and chew for a while, and then they spit it out. Why do they put it in if they're going to spit it out?
I don't know. It's very strange, that. It's very strange.
Who is that guy? Looks familiar.
Dudley Moore.
Oh, here he comes again.
If this was any slower, they'd call it farming.
It's not as bad as cricket, trust me. Oh, God.
Do you have any idea that, I mean, it was funny, people still kind of
That's a great line.
after all those years. Are you kind of surprised that the Monkees and their fans still kind of live on?
I've given up being surprised, now it's happened for so long, I kind of just take it for granted. I try not to get complacent and lazy about it. We work really hard to do a good show, but it's just, I guess there's no accounting for taste. Something. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it isn't something we orchestrate. There's no monkey enterprise or monkey management that's constantly trying to hype it up and sell it. Once every few years, a promoter, a producer, or a manager calls each of us individually and says, I think there's a market out there for the act, you want to go? And we say yay or nay, depending on what we're doing, our own personal plans, our goals, our mood at the time. We were supposed to go out in January, and I couldn't because I was directing a feature with Stephanie Zimbalist in New Orleans. So I said, no, I can't. And we made it March. We went out in March for a month, and then Peter couldn't go out in April because he was out with his group, Shoe Suede Blues. And so now we're going out now. So it's something that's kind of a grassroots thing, and it's become this traveling road show, like the bubblegum version of Grateful Dead.
You have, from your, for many of the years from the time the Monkees started till now, any particular memories of Cleveland that you have playing?
Well, this is a big market for us. We come here over and over again, and I love it. I've been back so many times. I love the Flats, and that is so cool. Great clubs, great music. Yeah, it's a great town.
Did you guys play here during the run of the show at all when you guys were touring?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the place we would have played. It would have been a big stadium or arena at the time. I couldn't tell you exactly what it was at the time. And of course, the rock and roll,
As far as
the whole history of rock and roll here, obviously,
As far as the fact that each of you guys have done a lot individually. How does it feel coming back to being a Monkee again? And it was a small part of your life, I'm sure, at the time. It's a body of work, but then, it's nice, I guess, to come back and be able to do it.
We have each of us...
Mike Nesmith.
Yeah. Thanks. Right if you get work.
How long are we getting if you do?
So is he doing the only interview? Or
No, I'm going to have you guys, if you don't mind, just do it. Why? He's good.
I'd like to see you there.
You'd have to ask each of us individually. You have to ask Peter and ask Davy, because we have very different points of view about the project, what I call a project, because and Peter makes a good point about this. If you're talking about the Monkees, it is not just the four of us. It was the record producers, the writers of the songs, Carole King and Neil Diamond and Harry Nilsson and Paul Williams. It was the producers of the show, Bob Rickles and Bert Schneider. It was the director of the show, Jim Frawley, who now directs Ally McBeal. There was lots of different people that were involved that make it the Monkees. So like I say, you'd have to ask each of us individually our particular take on it. And my take is that
I'm happy to give you mine.
Yeah. You asked Peter the same question. I just actually gave him your line about it takes all those players that were involved in the original show were the Monkees. Because it was a TV show initially, right? So when I go back to it personally, I go back into it with this idea that I'm an actor, entertainer, singer, musician, recreating this character that I originally created for this television show 30 years ago. So for me, it's more like a Broadway revival of West Side Story or Cats or Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum or whatever. That keeps me sane. For me, that's the most honest way of looking at it. And I think it's very accurate.
And finally, what's it like for people still to respond? I mean, they come out, you're getting a lot of pictures taken.
It's what can I tell you? I mean, it's wonderful. I feel incredibly blessed, to have been part of it at the beginning, and now all these years later to still be getting that kind of response. It's a wonderful feeling, of course. Great justification, and like I say, it makes the job easy in a way because we go out on stage to it always an incredible reaction. And you'll see that if you come to the Rib Cookout tonight at 8:30. It's always a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun doing it, as you've seen.
Great job. Although, what, Dawn was kind of disappointed you don't have the perm.
Do you like perm, Micky?
I was straight here.
No, he didn't come today. He's back in a box in L.A.
What happened to the monkey paw? Who's got the monkey paw?
Good question. I wonder. Don't know.
That's interesting. So you find that, and I got plenty.
Okay. Peter!
You're a good producer. You're doing a great job.
You back rubs?
I'm actually a news technical director.
You're going to be on staff for a back rub.
Sorry?
You're going to be on staff for a back rub.
Give me an application.
Get the application.
Back rub's going to be hot. I hope you don't mind. Okay, well, you know what? I am perfectly ready and rolling.
Checkity check, 1, 2, 3, 157. Well, you'll have to ask Micky. You have to ask the other guys about that.
That's your stock answer, I bet.
Do you want me to look at you?
The other guys,
Yeah.
I know it's not pleasant to look at.
You roll it?
Yeah, I'm rolling.
Yeah, how does it feel? You step up. How did it feel to throw out the first pitch today? I know you guys are used to kind of adulation, but it had to be a little different.
Yeah, it was different. Yeah, it was very different. Knowing that if I didn't do something funny, I was going to be hopelessly outclassed. So I threw out the second, third, and fourth pitches actually myself, and that was. But it's fun, It's always great. Love baseball. Always have. It's a wonderful thing.
What's it like?
Compared to what?
What's that?
What's it like?
What's it
Compared
like?
to what? Compared to what? You knew it. What's it like?
Doing the show in the '60s and then being able to continue it into the next century, having the fans follow you through that. Is that a good feeling?
The next millennium, yeah. Well, it's a fine feeling. There's no, you're always lucky to be able to do what you enjoy doing, and I love touring, and I love being on stage and performing and singing and interacting with audiences.
You do that with another band too. You have a band that's currently.
I have two other, and maybe three other configurations. I do have a blues band, Shoe Suede Blues, and we play nothing but the blues. And maybe a few Monkees songs if we're not. The Shoe Suede Blues opened for the Monkees on a couple of occasions recently. And I also have a duo with a man named James Lee Stanley, and I'm looking forward to a chance to be in a trio with my son and brother. That'll happen later this year, early next year.
Do you have any memories when you guys were touring Cleveland, aside from today?
After Cleveland? You mean like last year? Last time we were here when we were caught in the rain and the thunderstorm, electric, and nearly got electrocuted, dancing in puddles on stage.
How about when you guys were actually touring while the series was on? Anything you remember?
Well, the series was on, touring while the series was on, only that it was very different. It was just the four of us, you know, now the three of us stand up in front of a band, and we do the best we can to give good, solid reproductions of the music. When we were on the road, the four of us played whatever version of the song we could muster among us. Basically, we were just a power trio with plus a little English kid playing tambourine, you know, and we were kind of limited in our range in terms of how much you could do, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, God, you know, and we played in front of 18,000 screaming kids who didn't shut up for a second and barely noticed the ends of songs at scream levels, like right up to here, and then it went up to here at the end of songs and came to So that was like a lot of energy, you know. Look at one little group and smile, and that whole group would stand up and scream extra away. I mean, they would scream.
And does it give you as much satisfaction performing today as it did maybe back in the 60s?
Oh, I'd say more. First of all, I'm so much more aware of what I'm doing in terms of musically and technically as a performer and entertainer, and I enjoy being that much more in command of what I'm doing. Furthermore, the audiences listen to your jokes. They didn't listen to the jokes back then. You made jokes, but you knew they were just falling on, you know, in the empty scream is what, it's a good one. I've never thought of that one before. And you know, and the comedy interplay among us is much more relaxed and much more fun than it was. You can date members of your audience. Couldn't
I'll
used to
take
do
one
that.
of these. Thanks, son.
Thanks for you're welcome. Sorry, so your change.
I got plenty. Thanks, that was fun. I'm all set.
That's it?
No more? No more?
Hey, where's the monkey paw?
Okay. Between now and
I think time is precious here. I looked in the mirror this morning and went, woo. How much time?
I am rolling.
Oh, sorry.
Just so you know. Just so you know, David.
I looked in the mirror this morning, I didn't recognize myself.
You look very
I said,
young.
I know you. You?
You look familiar. Are you my brother?
Yeah. You look familiar too.
Yeah.
Actually,
You probably
do people see? Yeah?
Come
No, I live in Florida most of the time, in the winter, and then I have a place in Pennsylvania. I keep racehorses. I've always had racehorses. I ride every day. I get up at 5:30 in the morning, I ride, and I'm an outdoor person. City-born agrarian at heart, so, you know, my energy is high all the time, so, you know, it's a natural high, so I don't know. And I got 4 daughters too, so 56 years old this year. Scary. I live in a place you've got to be over 55 to live there. That's where I'm at, folks. Still singing Daydream Believer.
How's it feel? How does it feel going out and performing to a whole new group of fans?
You know, it's unbelievable. It's been this way for years and years. We got the mums and the dads, and we got the kids, and then we got the grandkids now, and all that stuff. So, you know, you see, there could be a ballpark or a motocross stadium or wherever. Everyone remembers the Monkees, and it's not anything that's threatening to anybody. It's like we're just part of the past, you know. And it happens that we're still alive, only just. But you know, people remember the Monkees, and so many, you know, from Nickelodeon to Saturday morning TV to Monday night when it first started. So hey, you know, this is an amazing journey we're having, and it seems to be ongoing. So it feels great, you know, when someone says, hey, I like that song, or used to watch the Monkees, and you know, you go, wow, that's me, you know. So
How do you feel? You know, I know you guys have played before big crowds before, but this had to be a little bit different. Throwing out the first pitch today, what was that like?
you know, we used to play for the Hollywood, in Hollywood, we had the, Alice Cooper had the Hollywood Vampires. In fact, when I was on Broadway back in the early 60s, when I was like 15, 16 years old, I used to play in the Broadway Show League. I was a second baseman, softball. The best games we ever played was against the Playboy Bunnies. I loved that one. But, and I also had an arm when I was a kid. I could throw a cricket ball farther than anybody in the school. And it's interesting when you stand on the mound. I was a little worried because it was a plastic coating, and I've got some funny little shoes on here. And when I got up there and I was practicing with my arm, my feet were going all over. So I didn't throw it too hard. I got one bounce, but it went over the plate. No, it's a thrill, you know, to be in a situation like this when it's obviously different than what we do, but you know, it's something we enjoy. I watch baseball all the time at home, you know. I mean, I make a few jokes about it, but to me, it's, you know, hey, it's actually, for the most part, all this kicking dirt and in the faces and things like that, you know. It's like football to me is a thug's game played by gentlemen, and baseball is a gentleman's game played by thugs. Sorry.
Why do the Monkees stand up so well over time?
I think it's because of the interest the public has, you know, through that period growing up in the 60s, 70s, 80s with the, you know, the, as I say, Nickelodeon and the quality of our shows, and the songs were written by Carole King and Neil Diamond and Harry Nilsson and Neil Sedaka, Carol Bayer-Sager, you know, Lieber and Stoller, Sears and Roebuck, Lord and Taylor, Neiman Marcus, I don't know. They, you know, we had great songwriters, we had great producers and directors, and the four of us contributed quite a lot, unbeknown to a few people who think it was just a farce. It was a thing that was like lucky. Well, I think after 35 years, it's not so lucky anymore. It's a thing that's going to be around for another 50 years, as Micky says. It's much more like the, you know, Abbott and Costello, the Marx Brothers, the Dead End Kids, the Bowery Boys. You know, it's not one of those programs that is only going to be limited to sort of like, you know, Nickelodeon reruns in years. I think it's going to be around a long time, which is great. But you know, it's hard to get away from that image of being a teenage idol and always being sort of like youthful, young-faced, cheruby kind of guy, you know, when deep down underneath this tinsel and fabric, you know, I mean, I ride 1,200-pound horses, you know, that, you know, racehorses, and I jump them and I gallop them, and there's no fear there. So that image of, you know, I could hide neath the wings of the bluebird as she sings. You know, I'm a baritone, really. My voice is somewhere down there. And I get reminded all the time of my appearance with Marsha on the Brady Bunch, you know. Most people think I married Marsha Brady and moved to Ohio and had 6 kids, you know, but it was Pennsylvania, actually. And after reading that book of the Brady Bunch, that scares me. You know, I was on that set there. I didn't realize they were all having such a good time. Did you read that book? Scary.
Did you have any good memories of Cleveland from your times, perhaps when the series was on? Or?
Oh yeah, I know Cleveland quite well. I've been here. We've played a number of times in town at the different theaters around, and obviously the town has changed a lot from having the flats, having the warehouse districts, and all that kind of stuff. People got smart, but it's happened all over the world. It's not just Cleveland. All of a sudden the downtowns are now taking shape and people are coming back into the downtowns, and it was taken over by people that, you know, just came in at night. And now it's getting to be where people realize there is potential, and investors are coming in and restaurants are opening. And as I drove down last night to our rehearsal, I mean, I was looking at the new little bars and restaurants and places that have opened, and you say, Cleveland? Well, Cleveland's, you know, got a new face, and obviously they've got a great ball team. Obviously we're honored to be here and throw out the first ball today, and you know, we've been here many times over the years. Hopefully we'll keep coming back, but it's nothing but fun. You know, where can a 55-year-old guy, you know, go out there and have all these young people screaming and shouting and singing tunes that I even remember, you know? I'm not even doing the Frank Sinatra with the thing coming round so I can read the words yet, you know? It'll probably come down to that. My dad used to say, they'll have to give you a shot to put you away, you know, so. But I'm having fun. Got 4 beautiful daughters. I married a couple of times. I'm single. And, you know, life goes on. I'm trying my best to be forthright and upright and you know, continue with my career. So who knows where it's going to... I've been on the Broadway stage, the West End stage. I've worked in television. I love the nightclub idea and I love the concert idea because I can improvise and show off, you know, as I'm trying to do right now. Probably not coming off, but you know, what can I say? I'm a bit of a prankster. I'm a prankster. I have a few little tricks up my sleeve, and Micky and I are always playing tricks with each other on stage, you know, and we're laughing and joking with each other. All kinds of stuff goes on. You'd have to see the concert to understand, you know, where can guys like us have such a great time, you know?
Great job, buddy.
Thank you.
I got plenty.
Cool.
Especially the Marshall question came up. Good. Thank goodness. Thank goodness you put that to rest.
Okay.
Come on, you take
Hey!
No, so you say hey with the Monkees.
Hey, with the Monkees.
And you're watching.
Speak for yourself. And I say speak for yourself.
And you're watching.
23. Didn't you just say you're watching 23 News?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Hey!
You rolling?
So you say
Gotta come
you say
closer.
hey with the Monkees.
Closer.
Like this?
You say hey with the Monkees.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say speak for yourself.
Yeah.
And you're going to say you're watching 23 News.
Okay, good. Yeah. And you say, speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Again.
Good.
All right, I got a request.
Ready?
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, let's go.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hey, hey, we're the Monkees.
Speak for yourself.
And you're watching 23 News.
Speak for yourself.
What's the other one?
Good one. Okay, same thing again.
Me again? Hey, how do you about?
Good.
Speak for yourself.
Hey, hey, we're the Monkees.
And you're watching Channel 3 News today. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Nice job.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, I almost